morning. It is Monday, the 1st of March. So we're here for my February Flosstube update. So if you don't know what Flosstube is, it's a sort of channel about cross-stitch and other stitchy needlecrafts. So this is Coco Creates, and this is Coco, who is very distracted by something shiny over there. You can look over here. No. And I'm Zoe. So you're going to say hello to the people? Maybe? No, you're still very distracted by something over there. Not sure what it is, but it must be very exciting. You're going to go get it? Yes, she's off to go get it, whatever it is. So, how is everyone? So if you're new to my channel, thank you for finding me, thank you for joining. And if you're returning, thank you for returning and tolerating some more of my chaos that is over here. So, made it through 2 months of 2021 without much incident so far. So yeah, so I suppose I'll get on with my whips. So I have one start and one finish, and then I have a couple of whips to show you. And I have a crochet whip and a knitting finish, which I might start with that because I'm wearing it and it's actually quite warm in here, so I might take it off because it is a bit warm on my neck. But this is the Cozy Up Knits Make Along or Knit Along. It was over on their channel, so I will link their channel below. And it was a make along for January, so it's 5 weeks, so it took just into February for me to finish it. And yes, so it's nice and chunky. So I just got around to blocking it a couple of days ago, but it is nice, very nice and warm. So there we go. So now it's off the needles. You can see it a bit better because I think when it was on the needles when I showed it before, and it was very smushed up. But yeah, so it has this lovely sort of cabled border, which was actually surprisingly easy to do. I've never done a cable on the edge before, but it wasn't too bad, I will admit. So, but yeah, it gives this just lovely touch to the edge of the cable. It's quite thick as well, so it's sort of a substantial edge. So we've got some sort of lace work, and then some mohair, sort of garter ridges, and it used short rows, so the two sides of the shawl are a bit different. But yes, then some Estonian buttons, then some of this kind of crosses, and then some more fan, waving fan at the end. And then you cast off with the double stranded mohair. So I used Ruby and Rose's yarn. I used her window box, completely went there, window box colourway in the sort of the rose gold, so it's got a little gold still in a sparkle, and the rose cloud base, which is the sort of mohair, surrey maybe, I can't remember, but that's what they were. So and yeah, and it's very warm, it's very big. So I held, it's 4 ply, but the pattern was to do double knit, so I did hold the merino, so the rose gold double, just to get the thickness. And yeah, so it is quite a big shawl. It's about 6 foot wide. The only thing I've got is doing this tab cast, and I have found it before when I've done a tab cast on, is I end up with this lump right here where it doesn't stretch out. So right at the start of the tab, I sort of have too much wool there. So it sticks out, and no amount of blocking pulls that out. And yeah, so if you've got any tips for that, head below. The only thing I can think of is adding more rows into my tab cast on in future. But yeah, if there's anything else, let me know. But yes, so that was my knitting finish. So I will pop that to one side because yes, despite it not being a great sunny day, it's actually quite warm in here. So I was hoping to wear it, but no, so it can just sit there. So we shall get on to my knitting, we get onto my stitching pieces. So I worked on 6 pieces this month. So if some of you know, okay, hold on a minute because one of the cats is like, I don't even know, just hold on. There we go, sorry about that. She'd seen something out the window and was hissing and spitting at it. So I don't know what it was, I couldn't see anything, but all sorted now. So, so I worked on 6 pieces. So like I said, I had one new start, one finish, and then some whips. So let us start where I started my month. So, oh yes, I was going to say about, I'm part of the Magical Stitches group. So a lot of my stitching is to follow the tasks for what they set sort of each week. But yeah, if you want to know specifically how I'm allocating the tasks, let me know, but because I won't really go into all that here, else we'll be here for hours. But yeah, so this is my Clouds Factory piece. So this is Humans After All piece, and this is where I've got to. And that's so I worked along the top shelf here. So I've added in the Egyptian and some pyramids. I think we're just coming along to some of the Greek monuments here. We've got Egyptians, we've got Mayans, and then I think we've got the Greeks. So yeah, so just finished that bit up there. For one of them, there is a little bit of the sparkly DMC, the DMC Etoile, sort of in her dress, the red and the yellow. But it is there. Whether you can see it, I'm not sure. But yes, this was a sal from 2017, I think, or something. It was quite an old sal. I'm pretty sure it's still available on the website, but just not as a sal, so you just get the entire piece. Clearly I didn't keep up with the sal, so there we go. So that was my first piece, and I did 1,710 stitches in that this month. So so yeah, still getting there. So I think I've got the next month chunk done-ish, because obviously it did come out as the 12 chunks. And then next I got out my big piece. So that is my supersized max colour Amazing Animal Kingdom by charted by Haid but designed by Amy Stewart. This is one of my favourite pieces. Leave that there. So I have taken my big frames apart, but just for maintenance. But I am going to show you because I think someone asked about making, because my dad made one of these. So at the end of the video, I will do a quick run through of how he made them, so that you can do it yourself if you wish. And this is how far I am now. So there we go. So I've done a bit more. Whoops, there's any problem with holding it now. Haha. So I've done a bit more of sort of another 2 stripes. So you can just about see the legs coming in. There's a deer on this shelf. And then I worked down, and then I did deviate from my stripes a little bit because there was this whole block of Krynic for the polar bear. And it was just a solid block, so I just did that. I just went all the way across. Now I think there's like another solid block of the next colour, filling in the polar bear, so I think I'm just going to go across and do that as well, just to sort of get that bit done. But yeah, so this is on a 28 count coffee even weave, coffee dyed latte, it's one of those colours. I just got it from 123 Stitch, and it was just there. I can't remember what actual company it is. I don't think it says Vigart, but that's as close as I can remember, I'm afraid. It was very generic, and then because it's going to be full coverage, it's going to be covered. So I wasn't over bothered about you know, the specifics of what brand it was. I just know I didn't want white because one of the shelves is a lot of white, which coincidentally there is 0 white in the actual colour. There's no white, no blanc, no DMC 5200. You know, there's no actual white, but yeah. But just to give you an idea of how big the piece is, it's pretty much going to fill. I don't think there was much spare on the fabric when I bought it. I bought sort of, I think there's only a few inches at the end, so it will be quite a piece, quite a size, you know, whenever I get around to finishing it. But yeah, so like I said, but I'll come back to that one later because that's the frame that my dad made, and I can show you that one. So this month I put in 5,340 stitches. So I didn't meet my target last month, but so I had to catch up from last month, from January, and then added some more in, and I think I was 60 stitches away from my actual target this month, but that was fine. I thought that's enough. I put it away and then thought, oh, 60 more, and I was like, I'm not getting it out again. Like that'll do. It's close enough. So then I thought I would have a new start because I had a finish in January. So this is my temperature tree, Sal. So this is from Stitching Mummy on Instagram, Etsy. She's probably on Instagram as well, I don't know, but it's from her Etsy store. So it's the temperature tree, Sal. Now this is there is a Pattern Keeper compatible chart, so I have loaded it into Pattern Keeper, and the actual whole chart is only just over 7,000 stitches, I think 7,500. So I'm just over a third of the way through already, which I was quite impressed with. But yeah, so this is where I've got to. Now this is my tree for 1991, because I'm going to be doing 2 of these. I'm going to be doing one for the year I was born, and then one for the year we're in, which is the year I turned 30, and then have them finished sort of together or side by side. So yeah, so that's how far I've got. So this is January, February, March, and then October, November, December's branch as I was coming up. And there we go. I am missing some leaves on here because I'm missing one colour, and I can't get it at the minute, so I'm going to have to get my DMC chart out and sort of try and find a different colour, a different number that's in between the two temperatures to substitute. But yeah, I've got that. So this is using one of the Silk of the Month silks from Silks For You as the tree. So I'm using one of her ones just to do the tree, so it's like a variegated sort of brown colour, and then I'm using CXC threads for the leaves because I need a little bit, and I have a lot of those. So so yeah, this is on let's see, a 36 count even weave cloud stone from Fabric Flair, which I buy from Sew It All UK. And yes, it's like a mottled grey, sort of a cool neutral colour for that one. And I have 2 pieces of it because I'll do them both on exactly the same colour with the same sort of scale of the leaves as well. So that one I did 2,500 stitches on, so I'm already a third of the way through. So hopefully I can get that one cranked out sort of quite quick, and then I'll start the other one. And obviously I won't get the other one finished till the end of the year because it's this year's temperatures, but I thought, look, I can get all the branches done, and then I've just got to maybe, you know, once a week, once a month do the leaves, and it shouldn't take too long. So yeah, so then next I picked up my other Haid that I've got. So this one is Bath Time by Selena Fennick. This is a regular size, regular colour one, and there we go. Again, I've pulled it off. So these have been on the frame for sort of over a year now, so I've taken them completely off the frame just to do some generic maintenance, make sure there's no damage to the bulk of the fabric, because this one uses like a Velcro. The actual wooden rod has a piece of Velcro on, and then you stick the other side of the Velcro onto your fabric and then stick them together. So you can see I've got quite a big board here because I wasn't sure if it damaged the fabric at all. And I figured, well, then if it does, I've still got, you know, 4 inches plus the sticky, just in case. But yeah, so, and that is how far I've gotten her. So you can see I've come down, I've started in the bath. Again, this was a block of colour, so it was very easy just to fill in the block as I went along. But yeah, and I managed to get her face started, or her eyes, and that was the piece I was really looking forward to, sort of getting in and seeing how it showed up. That's the piece that I was sort of quite worried about. I thought if it doesn't look right, I would have probably had to give this piece a miss, because if her face wasn't going to have the detail in it, there would be no point in carrying on, because her face is the main focus of the piece, you know. So her tail and the background and the bath is, you know, it's all there, but her face is what you're drawn to. So I thought that if her face isn't going to look very good, then yeah. But yes, this is 25 count, 1/1. And actually I might as well, while I'm here, show you my backs, because I know some of you all like to see back sides. So I do diagonal parking. My diagonal parking method is originally sort of come through from Brian over at Stitch. So I sort of follow his method, but I do a bit more cross-country-ish in the diagonals. And I'll show you what I mean in a moment. But yeah, so that's my back. So you can see a bit squiggly, but you know, it's the back and it's very thick. Very good coverage, so you're not going to see the back. And you know what, I'm going to be spending like 5 years stressing about how the front of this. I'm not going to spend time stressing about the back of it, like no. So I can't see any of it through the front, so I'm not worrying. Obviously if I could see it through the front I would, but I can't. So, and what I meant about the cross-country parking is, if I roll this up so you can see the bit I've been working on recently. Well, I suppose it is a bit blocky, but I have got some up here. So you can see where I've taken this colour and worked it. So so this is my stripe that I would be working up, and these are just extra bits. And I've worked it all the way up and sort of under those park threads there. And I will take a block that's normally only a couple of inches, or it'll be the set that. So her hair, I might do all as one, give or take. Now, I say give or take because if it's quite a lot, so this one doesn't have that much confetti. There's a lot more confetti in the background, but there's not that much in her hair. So you can see, like, this stripe here was all that colour. So this is all black. It's not too bad. If I have to count a distance that I'm not confident counting, so if it's, you know, 5 stitches, 10 stitches, 15, that's not too bad. If I have to sort of do more than 20 stitch jump, which really on here is like that far, but if I have to do more than 20 stitch jump, I will probably park the thread where it's next due to go and then work up until I get there, because then I don't have to stress and over count. I can just count the once, park it, mark it in Pattern Keeper or on my chart where I parked, and then work until I get there. And then if it's in the wrong place, it's in the wrong place, I can move it. Whereas I've found if I have to count and count and count and count to make sure it's in the right place, and then I still make an error, like, that's taken a lot more time out, because then I've got to unpick the error. But also I found, like, I don't particularly want to be counting, you know, 5 times every time I'm moving. So I will just count once. If I'm not 100% sure that's where it is, I will park it. So if I'm only moving a few stitches, that's fine. So yeah, so I will do cross country sort of more in blocks. And you can sort of see the blocks that I pick, because that's, each section will then have its own needle minder. So like this will hold everything that's under the bath. This holds the light colours of the bath. This will be a hair that I'm working on, you know, because they're all similar colours. So I think you could sort of see that on Animal Kingdom. So this one, so it's just someone was asking in my previous video and I said I'd mention it. But this one, sort of you can see more my blocks of stitching. So I have sort of all this greenery here, the pink of the shelf because it's like the same 6 colours going across. So that's one. This section is one. Sort of the purple, you know, the blues are the background, the purples, the bear is one section, and everything under the bear is another section. And I will try and keep them set like that. So yeah, anywhere where there's a big gap in between my parking, you know, means it's a new section of threads really. Is how I try to do it. And just to show you the back of there, so you can see it's a lot more messy because there's a lot more confetti on here with it being a max colour piece. But again, you can't see any of this through the front. You know, you can see where I've carried all my threads here. This is a bit thicker than the other one because this is a 28 count and I'm using 2 strands. But you know what? Again, you can't see any of that through the front of the fabric, so I don't care. You know, this piece is going to take me 20 years to do. I don't have time to care what my back looks like. Nobody's ever going to see it. So yeah, so that's that one. Then what else did I work on? So what do we have next? So, on bath time I did 6,000 stitches. So again, that was 2,000 carried forward from January and then my 4,000 this month. So I stitched right until my target and then put it away because I had my other one to work on. So then I had a little bit to do on my tea time sale. So tea time piece, it's not a sale. So this is a piece that I started when I was on camp. It's a design by Soda Stitch. And this is just the top corner of it and the cakes. So I'm adding in fractionals as I go as well, so just to give it more shape. But yeah, and I think I'm nearly finished. I've just got the little papery flouncy cut napkin thing underneath and to finish it off, and then I will back stitch this because this one is all different motifs. So now I'll back stitch it and then go on to the next one. So I'll either go on to the teapot, which is here, or there's something underneath it. I don't know which way I'll go yet, but I will work that out when I come to it again. So this one I only put in 400 stitches because it was just for one prompt. It was prompt something that you would sacrifice to the gods, and I thought, well, baked goods smell good and I'm good at that baking, so I would give them some cakes. So that was that. So, and then my finish. So if you remember, I spoke about sort of kidnapping Andrea C iHeartCrossStitch. Her idea of working on her oldest piece and her newest piece. I think she does her oldest, her smallest, and then a gift. I don't have that many pieces that I'm gifting, so I'm just going to flip between my oldest piece and my smallest piece, just so that they both get worked on. Hopefully I get some finishes. So this was my smallest. Not necessarily in size, but it was a lot less coverage than my actual smallest piece. And this is Piece Dove by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. So this is a piece that I got at the Stitching Social a couple of years ago. I think it was Christmas before last, and I got most of the way through the bird, and that was it. And then I sort of put it away and was like, oh, I'll finish that at some point. This isn't the fabric that I would have chose to go with this design. I'd have probably done a blue, or maybe a sort of cool grey sky kind of colour. But this is the piece that I had, or that I got. So yeah, so there we go. So it's a dove on an olive branch, and then like some snowflakey sort of things around the top. And there's my little signature there, ZR21. And yeah, so I think I'm just going to finish this into, I don't think it's perfectly round, I haven't measured. I think it's more oval shaped. It seems a bit flat, but I don't know if that's just because this branch sort of puts your eye off. So I'm going to measure it, but I'm going to finish it into like a flat ornament kind of hangy thing. So that's probably following one of Vonna's tutorials, Vonna Pfeiffer. So I'll have a scrounge through all her videos and see what pops up to recommend, and that'll hopefully I'll finish that one this month. It would be nice to have a fully finished thing at some point this year. So yeah, so that one took 770 stitches to finish, and I think I did that one last night. But yes, so that's that one all done. And so that was all my stitchy whips for this month. Oh, 25 minutes, got through that quite good. But yeah, was that all 6? Yes, so that is what I worked on. So this month, like I said, I'll be working on my 2 heids as always, so try and get 4,000 stitches onto each piece. I've looked at this week's homework, or task, this week's task for magical stitches, and I'll be working again on my humans piece, but also getting my chessboard out for this week. So you'll see some black work on next month's updates. But yeah, so now I'll just touch on my crochet whip. Now I first pulled this piece out to show you, ooh, maybe 6 months ago, maybe more. It was in one of my summer videos, and I popped it away and I hadn't picked it up since, and it was, oh gosh, I've forgotten her name. No, I can't remember. But she commented on the video because she was sort of catching up on my older videos, and said, she was like, oh, I really like that crochet piece you're doing. And I was like, oh yeah, I completely forgot I had that. Like, so this is the Sacred Space crochet along from a designer whose name I can't remember. So I'll pop it there. It was free when I started it, so I downloaded all the parts. I'm not 100% sure if it still is free. You might have to double check. I'll double check, but just have a look over there. It'll either be on there or it won't. So where am I up to? So I only managed to add about 3 or 4 rows this month. So I think I was just finishing up the dark purple. So then we had this row, which was, no, I think I'd just done that row. So there's a couple of regular rows, and now I'm doing a seashell sort of type stitch and that. But yes, but it's 650 stitches at the minute all the way around. So each full row is taking me like maybe 3 hours to do. So it's taking a long time. But there we go. So this is using a single ball, well, 2, but a single ball. The ball is variegated. So it's called, it's a sheep ears yarn, and it's a whirl, sheep ears whirl, and this one's called Tasty Nom Nom. So yeah, it's sort of pinks, purples, maroons. So it sort of starts off one colour, then goes all the way to purple, and then I started the next ball on the purple, and it'll go all the way back through to the pink, and that's where I'll finish. So this blanket is designed to be a lot bigger than this. I don't think I've got enough wool to actually finish it, so I will just keep going until I'm out of wool, and that's it. And it will probably end up remaining a circle. So because what you do is you sort of then you finish the circle, then you work each corner individually, and then finish a border to make it square. I don't think I've got enough yarn to do that, and I don't really want to have to buy another ball to finish it. Also because this is, you know, like, it's quite big already, you know, so I don't think I'd need it any bigger than that. So yes, so probably not going to finish this anytime soon, just because of how long it takes. I mean, I managed to get 3/4 of the way around this row whilst I was watching one of the new Star Trek films, Into Darkness, I think it was. It's in the modern Star Trek film. And yeah, and so that's what, 3 hours long. And I only got 2/3 to 3/4 of the way around a row. So I've still got that much to do on the row. So yeah, so it's taking its time, but you know, it's quite nice to sit and do when I'm just there. So I don't know if oh, so that's all my crafty stuff. So I have a wee bit of life update, and then I'm going to go through the how to make the frame. But yes, so I don't know if you remember from a previous video, if I even mentioned it on a previous video, I might not have done, but I have osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, so I struggle with my hands and my wrists a lot, so my fingers are starting to bend and twist in weird directions. So I find it quite helpful to flip between my different hobbies, because each one uses my hand in a different position or uses different grips. So so for crochet, I'm sort of holding the hook. Knitting, I can knit in a couple of different directions. So I can knit sort of continental style, I can knit British style, Russian style, you know, lever style. I have a few different ways that I can knit, and I will flip between them all whilst I'm knitting, just so that my fingers don't start to cramp up or swell up. Then I have cross stitch, which uses the pincer grip a lot. So each one of my hobbies uses different muscles and different ways of moving, and by sort of flitting between them all, it helps to, it just helps that I don't get cramped up very much, so I can go longer before I have to rest. But yes, so any of the life updates? Nothing too exciting. Obviously, you know, we're still in lockdown here in England. So I think we're starting to come out of lockdown a little bit in places. Some of the restrictions are going to be getting looser for a lot of people. I think you can start meeting a person outside, you know, sort of closer contact now, but I'm not 100% sure on the exact rules, because a lot of them don't apply to me. So being disabled and having a you know, autoimmune issues, I have to isolate a lot anyway, and waiting for surgery I have to stay isolated a lot. So a lot of these new, oh, you can go out and do things, it's like, well, I can't. So I don't really pay attention to what the rules are, because I can't go out and do any of those things, so it doesn't really matter to me. But you know, I've had my vaccine, I've had my first vaccine, so my next one will be booked in soon, and we'll go from there and see what happens from there. I'm still waiting for updates on surgery. So I was supposed to be having urgent surgery last April to fix my leg, and obviously it was cancelled with COVID, and then cancelled because of funding, and then cancelled for this and cancelled for that, and now it's looking like it's less likely to happen now. I'm on an urgent waiting list. I've been moved on to, so it means I might still have about another 8 to 10 months to wait. So yeah, so that might be too late. So, but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. Until then, I will stay here and stitch and knit and crochet and do all the things, and perhaps, you know, finish a project or two. So this month's plans. So obviously I've got my two Haids to get their 4,000 stitches in. I'll be working on my old project, my oldest project, at some point this month. So that's my Swan in the Moonlight. So I hope to get at least 1,000 stitches into that one at some point this month to fit her in. And yeah, and then a couple of new starts coming. So that's why I really wanted to finish that one this month, because I have the silk coming for my pandemic long dog samplers. So I have the fabric, which I showed on my last video, and silk should be coming with my this month's Silk of the Month pack. And that normally comes sort of middle of the month-ish, depending on the post, somewhere between like the 16th and the 20th normally. I mean, I'm not in a rush for it, like it'll come when it comes. Me complaining that it's taken too long isn't going to make the post any faster, so it'll come when it comes, hopefully this month. But yeah, so I've just got a hank of her natural undyed silk for that, because the fabric was quite patterned and that, and I don't know whether to add another colour into it or not. or just to do it all completely in the sort of cream colour. I haven't decided. I've seen quite a few people that have done 2 colours. I know Noah over on Noah Stitches, he's doing it on a lovely blue fabric. Very jealous. I would have picked blue. I should have picked blue, but I didn't. I have a very pretty piece of fabric, but it's not blue. So, but he's doing, he's using sort of black and white. So he's using the 2 colours, and I thought, well, I don't know whether to do that or just to do it all in the one. I haven't decided. I will wait and see when it comes and probably start and see how I get on. But also I have 2 chatelaine kits coming. So I mentioned a while ago, it may have been on a comment on Julie's channel as opposed to me voicing it on my channel, I can't remember. So that's Julie and Alyssa over at Stitching at the Cabin. And I mentioned over there that I was going to be saving up to buy a chatelaine kit. So they should be coming soon, hopefully, fingers crossed. Obviously the reason sort of I have to save for them is I don't have, like, you know, £700 just lying around. So I ordered 2 kits from European Cross-Stitch company, from the place where you buy the chatelaine kits from. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, so I've ordered the Pomeranian, which is, I'll put here, and the Greek Mandala. So I've holidayed quite a lot over in Cyprus and I really love it out there. So this one kind of just settled in, and I just really like this one. So I ordered the kits for both of those. I have bought a few other chatelaine, a couple of other chatelaine designs, but I'm not kitting those up yet. You know, we'll see how I get on with the first 2. So I would like to actually perhaps finish one of my chatelaines before I kit up the next, maybe. So we'll work on that. But not sure which one I'll start yet. I think when it comes, you know, I'll have a look and decide then. But yes, so very looking forward to getting those. I have vaguely looked at the pattern packs for them, and then I closed the file and left it on the computer and was like, yeah, I'll look at that later. So we'll see how we get on there. Just an FYI for the cost. Obviously, if anyone else that lives in England or in Britain, I'm sure the rules are very similar. Sorry, that's my little medication thing that I put on the floor. That's to remind me to take my tablets. So what was I saying? Oh yes, so postage. So I'm assuming Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, I'm assuming it's a similar system to what's in England, but I don't know 100%. So I'll just go on what mine is. So obviously I ordered them, the kits, and then pay the extra shipping, which isn't necessarily cheap. I can't remember quite how much it is, but you know, whatever. But then once it actually comes into the country, it goes through customs. And then for items valued over £15, we have to pay sort of customs charges and VAT. VAT is valued at 20%, and that's 20% of the entire cost of the item plus the amount of postage that was paid. And that's basically whatever the figure on the customs label, so the person that's sending it, whatever the figure they put, plus the amount of postage that was paid on the envelope. So we have to pay 20% of that value again, and then there's sometimes an additional customs charge. So sometimes that can be, depending on what the type of item is, I think that can be up to another 15%. And there's an £8 standing fee from Royal Mail for the privilege of telling you that you owe this extra money to come in. So I think the kits together came to about £400 or £500. I think one was 300 maybe ish, I can't remember. Let's say £400, and then 20% of that would be an extra sort of set £80. So that puts me up to about the 480, and then I've got the postage on top, and then the VAT of the postage. So it does add up. So it's, if you're making a big purchase from outside of the country, always try and anticipate adding on that extra 20 to 25% for when it comes, because you don't know how much, whether it will come under the customs, whether it will come under this, that and the other. So if you are buying out of the country, just keep an eye on that and make sure to figure that into the value of the item. But yes, so that was my little PSA on how to buy things. But yeah, so like I said, when they come, I don't know if I'll start them both in March. Depends on when they come and what we're going from there. So yes, but yes, that's my update. I don't think I've got anything else to do, so I will just run through this frame and how my dad made the frame, and then I'll be off. So, so obviously if you don't really care for how the frame's made, then you can off ski now, and I will see you again at the end of this month and start of April. Oh gosh, April already. Oh, quarter of the way through the year. Terrible. So, but yeah, so if not, hopefully I'll see you then. If you do come back, you know, if I haven't scared you off already, although I'm pretty sure if you found me that scary, you'd have probably clocked off before the 40-minute mark. So hopefully if you're still here. But yeah, but thank you for tuning in, thank you for watching, thank you for spending the time with me, rambling on, and yeah, and I will see you next month. So remember, so I love you, and Black Lives Still Matter, and have a lovely March. So, cross-stitch frames. So let me move my projects out of the way so I don't knock them off. So this one, I can't remember for the life of me the company this was from, but this was a bought one. So that's how that one comes. And then the rods, I've just got the wire in the end. Now this one didn't come in a big enough size for my supersize Haid. So I basically showed my dad that one and was like, can you do this? Can you make one? And he did. So what he did, so let me grab one of the poles. So basically we went into our local hardware store and bought sort of 1-inch dowel rods, doweling, that was the length that I needed. So I believe these are about 40 inches, because I needed, I think my fabric was going to be about 36. So I thought, well, I need obviously long enough to have a gap at the edge. I don't want the fabric butting up to the wood. So I went with that. So, and then he sanded off the corners just to keep them smooth. Now, because I have so much extra fabric on here, I think I have about maybe six inches each end. So the ends that hit the dowel rod, so the sides basically, because it's landscape, so the sides. I knew there was no way I was going to be able to do this one right way up, because it's about 45 to 50 inches wide, and I'm not going to be able to have a 50-inch wide frame. Like, I'd knock somebody out with it. So I knew I was going to have to mount this sort of on its side. So we went with that. I made sure to get plenty of extra fabric on the side, because basically I stapled the fabric in at the edge, because I knew I had so much spare that no matter what it did to the fabric, I would be able to cut off that whole chunk. Now, when I wrap this up, I do have another piece of fabric that I just put in there just to protect the rest of my stitching material from the staples. Okay, so it's another reason why I regularly do take it apart, is just check the staples haven't gone musty, haven't pulled out, haven't started to rip the fabric. Because this piece is going to be on here for upwards of, you know, 15 to 20 years, I thought it's better to keep a good eye on the quality of the staples. So yeah, 2 dowels, and that obviously didn't staple the fabric in until he was finished. And then he drilled a hole in the end so that he could put in one of these. So this is, because my camera won't focus very well, it doesn't focus on anything but the distance away my face is. But yeah, so it's a screw, wood screw on one end, and then you've got the sort of narrow screw on the other. So I drilled the hole in to push that in, or screw it in to the end, so that then you have one of them. So you can see there's like a plain bit there, and then you've got the the teeth, the whatever, the spinny bit. So on the end. Alright, so that's that bit. These are my side pieces, so I wanted 12 inches between them. I probably didn't need 12 inches, but he asked me and I was like, I don't know, go for 12, why not? I probably could have done with 9, but you know, whatever. Lesson learned. So, so we basically got a piece of, so this is like 1 by 3, 1 by 2, 1 by 2.5, whatever. Basically, it needs to be wide enough that your dowel will fit in, into it. So you don't want it narrower than your doweling, and it needs to be thick enough to be able to hold the weight of the frame. So my frame was quite big, so I needed something that was going to be quite sturdy and wasn't going to snap. Sort of obviously when you have your 2 dowels here with all the weight pulling them in, I didn't want this to snap in the middle, so it had to be a decent size. And then he countersunk in an inch disc so that my dowels would fit in, and then again screwed the holes for the ends of the for the other end of the screw to go in. Yeah, and then pretty much that's the frame. So that goes on there. So that sits in. So it's countersunk. But I suppose you don't have to countersink it. That's completely up to you. My dad did. So countersink there, and then these are only giant because it's the only size I had. But giant washer on the end, just to stop your, when you screw, if you like your tension really tight like I do, you screw like hell. So it was to stop this boring straight into the wood, because some cheaper frames that I've got, smaller ones that have these, because of how tight I do it, I have damaged the wood. So use a dowel and then a wing nut, and there you go, and that's it. And that is literally all it is. So you need 2 pieces of doweling. I picked about 1 inch, just because again the size of my fabric, the length of the frame, again I didn't want this to snap in the middle. So obviously if you're only going to have your frame this wide, it doesn't need to be thick enough. It's not going to snap. Like you're not going to get that enough tension to snap it. So you can have a 1/2 inch dowel or a 3/4 inch dowel. But basically I wanted this to last. I didn't want it to snap after a couple of years of using it. Because I don't want the wood splinters getting in my fabric. But also I just want to know it's there and it's going to be fine. It's going to be safe, it's going to sit, it's going to last for 20 years. So yeah, so that's those. Like I said, we made sure this was all sanded so that it wasn't going to cut into any of the fabric, so I can quite happily run my hands up and down it. There's no splinters, there's no burrs, there's no nothing. It's very smooth. Like I said, and I add another little, so I've stapled the fabric on. I put in another, I haven't got it here because they're in the wash. So I put another piece of fabric. So if it's only a couple of inches, it's a thick piece of fabric. So it's kind of like a canvas, like a painter's canvas fabric. So it's thick enough that if one of these staples was a bit loose and had a little nick in it, it would only go into the fabric and it wouldn't, so my extra fabric, my canvas, it wouldn't actually go into my sewing fabric. And then I've stapled them on, stapled it so that when I turn the fabric, I'm stitching in the ditch. So what that means is that I'm rolling the fabric that way around, and then I stitch on this side. So this is my front. So my good side of the fabric will get folded in, so that then this is always going to be the back. So if, you know, I get anything on the back, it's on the back. And then, yeah, and then that just gets rolled all the way up. I do it very loosely because obviously you do it all the way up. You've done the same on the other end. I haven't rolled this very well, clearly, but I tried to get my 2 pieces of fabric when they were stapled even, so that my sidebars would be even. And then, yeah, and then that goes in my frame. And that's it. Simple as that. I need 2 dowels, 4 sort of wood to nut screws, you know, these things. Yeah, 2 bits of the 2x4 or 1x2, whatever you want to call it, 2 side bits, 4 wing nuts and 4 washers, and that's it. And then obviously your drill, you don't have to countersink, so if you don't have a countersinker thing, you don't have to do that bit, so you just need to be able to drill through the wood. And the hardest part is drilling into here, because obviously you have to get very straight, so you'll need clamps, and to do that safely, if you can't do that on your own, find someone that can. Please don't try and start drilling into stuff, because Zoe told me to do it and then you end up like drilling through your countertop or your hand or something. Like, be safe. don't use power tools if you don't know how to use them. That's why I got my dad to do it. So, but yeah, and that's that one. So that's how that's made. Oh, and then yes, I've got my extra long ground guards that I made as well, that cover it. So yes, long-term project. I highly recommend a ground guard, whether you make it like I have, whether you buy it, I don't care. Like, even if it's just a piece of towel or fabric that you always have it wrapped in, a long-term project, because it's going to get dusty, it's going to get touched, it's going to get oily. Like, you need something to keep it safe. But yes, and there we go, all done, and we're under an hour, so bonus points for me. But yes, thank you very much for joining. I love you lots. Stay safe. Bye.